Hey, welcome back everyone, Old Bubs here, and today I'm gonna do a little swap-a-rooney on this here Ranger Green bug out to these fancy schmancy swanky AWT aluminum scales. Now I have a bug out scale swap video on the channel that has got a lot of views because I think that this is something that people really need, and I use this little fancy Flytanium pivot tool that makes it so that you don't actually have to take the knife all the way apart. On this run, I wanted people to be able to see what it looks like to do absolutely everything and clean all the parts while you're at it. And I also have some oversized washers that I'm going to put in, and I actually have a couple of stiffer Omegas that I think I'm going to like a little bit better in there. A little rundown here: you're going to need a T6 and a T12, or T10, I mean T10, yeah. T10, got my head on straight. A couple little cleaning cloths, and we're going to use isopropyl alcohol 91% to do that. Never get the 98 or anything higher than 91 actually, because it will just eat finishes off of your wood and it'll tear up your hands. I know from experience. I'm going to use 10 weight nano oil as my lubricant of choice. A little Loctite on a stick. Might as well pop the cap off of that now. Then this is just a sunshine jewelry cloth that I just used to take a little bit of the tarnish off of washers before I put it all back together. So here we go. These fancy mats make it nice and easy to keep your screws in order. The way that I like to do this is take them off in a way that makes sense and keep them all together. So here's 2 pocket clip screws, and then while we're on the round of using the pocket clip to tell me which side I'm taking these out on, set them down in exact order that they're coming out here, because sometimes, I don't know if it's true of this particular knife, but sometimes screws are different lengths and you don't want to misplace a screw and try to beat your head against the wall putting them into a different place than they came out of. I've done that a time or two. I do think this middle screw is shorter, or at least it should be, because that's the part that sticks into the middle of the knife, and it might look kind of clunky from down in if it was longer, but I don't know what they're doing these days. Could be doing anything. You just pop out all your T6ers. Make sure to just use good solid connected pressure. These are coming out like a dream, but they don't always. Swap over here to your pivot. Yeah, that one's sticky, like it's got some Loctite on it. I have been carrying this knife, but not a ton. Okay, now just pop this guy off here. Bye, Mr. Scale. And then you can just undo a little Omega spring off of there, take it off of your little axis post. You can see my 2 little barrel spacers popped out there. Now you can just compress the lock bar, get this little cartridge liner out of here. I'll actually just press the pivot out. That's going to make life easy for us. Press that there, pivot out, and then that just comes out. We take this whole little cartridge box off. Now take that apart. We got these little parts to all clean. Woo! Look how easy that was. Okay, now see the size difference of the washers. I've never tried these. It's going to be interesting. There's always a chance that it's just going to be a silly endeavor that makes the knife not function properly. That's the risk you always take with aftermarket parts. But I was feeling lucky and a little spunky. Try a couple things out. I think whenever you're in here, is a good opportunity just to get all of the gunk and old oil off of here. So I just like using these little swatches These are actually meant for cleaning little pew-pews, but you can just buy them in a bulk thing for really cheap, and then they work great for this kind of stuff. Just to hold a little bit of alcohol in them. Get our pivot a little cleaner. Alright. Now how I like to do this is I like to take the scale, okay, and we're going to take the pivot side, the non-pocket clip side. And I think I did that right, because if I'm holding the knife, the pocket clip's going to be in this side of my hand, so this is the side the pivot came out of. So I just take that, and I like to build my little spacers on here with the screws before I get going too crazy. Then that'll keep our knife all together. Grab the T6, that little screw, kind of go in a reverse order here. These little spacers have a D shape in them that makes them stay when they're sandwiched together. Then what they did on these AWT scales is pretty cool, is that they made a little D shape on the scale. I've been really impressed with all of these AWT aluminum upgrades. They speak to my soul. They look nice, and they're relatively affordable. I mean, a bug out with aftermarket scales is far from a budget endeavor for most people, but you end up with a pretty cool knife, all said and done. And I mean, if I let myself be a little silly Billy, I could find myself having 7 or 8 of these little buggers. But I'm reformed. I'm a reformed knife addict. Doggone it. Okay. Now we are going to build this side of the cartridge. Grab a spring or two. Okay. So what you want to do is grab the lock bar here. Throw the spring around here. They're so fancy to fit over the edge. And trust me when I say that if this looks all fiddly to you, it is, but it is 100% worse when you're trying to do all this stuff so that another person can follow you along on a camera. It is just not that bad to do on your own when you're not concerned about showing every step on a camera, talking while you're doing it, or getting nasty little comments from those of you who feel that that's something that you need to do. I mean, I'm here for it. If you need to go after me a little bit for fumbling, you go right ahead. I'm all for it. Whatever floats your boat makes you happy. Now with these cloths, you're not taking any material off, you're just making it shiny like that again. So here we're going to line the D shape up on the pivot. Then take my shiny little washer, grab a little lubricant, or lubricant if you're feeling positive. We're just going to slide this back, keep that guy engaged and happy. Now that's going to sit there more or less. Do our second side here. that to going. Give us a little, whoop, little looby. Some of that was headed for the pivot, but I got a little sloppy with it. Okay, now we got to move our lock bar out of the way, twist that on there. Then kind of the song and dance of all this. Oops, I'll let that guy drop out. So we got to put that back in. We can close the blade. Let it sit in there. Okay, so this guy actually has a D shape on both sides and needs to go up. So you click that bad boy in. Sometimes you need to be able to be more ambidextrous than I am. A less right-hand dominant person would have just kept the hands that they had rocking right there. But alas, I cannot. Okay, get that to slide in. Buckler down. Okay. Now, really all we're going for is to get this guy over here. All you gotta do, slide our lock bar up, and then we can rotate that. Be careful with that blade in there. Just get it to slide up over our pivot. And onto this little sandwich now. See, and then just got to keep our pivot pressed through there. And now we're ready for that other spring. Just kind of seal the deal on the whole thing. That is a stiff spring. Pushed over our little lock bar. And with any luck, we're gonna onto here without too much trouble. Shoot for it. Shoot for the moon. There we go. Beautiful. Don't worry, I'm a trained professional. Okay. Now, we'll slap this bad boy on here. And, wow, that actually came together pretty nice. Now, if you follow along with our pattern of things, this bottom screw here, grab the right driver, use up top here in reverse order, drops in beautifully. Drops into our little interior cartridge. That guy there. Oh yeah. And this little guy that ends up hidden from the world underneath the pocket clip. Okay, then we'll drop our pivot in before we do the pocket clip. The way I like to run my pivot is I like to start it off a little too tight on a new knife and just really start working it in, getting everything grooved through here. That starts to wear those washers in, and just back it off a little bit at a time. And then you're just going for having a solid lockup, which that already does. That is mighty fine. Whew! We'll do some more fine tuning. Basically, you just want to keep it to where It's tight and it has a real nice lockup, but flings out for you. So we can back that off just a touch. And then when you get it adjusted, that Loctite hardens, and then your pivot won't move as bad. She's dead center. So now I'll just slap the pocket clip on. Get both of them to drop in, so you're not cranking anything down. Those are brand new holes. Whew! You can feel that. Now we're talking. Man, that's a beaut. I hope you found this helpful and it gives you the courage to go for this on your own, watching an old rusty guy fumble through another scale swap. That knife is looking mighty fine and looking ready for action to me, ready for the pocket. I hope that you'll let love and light fill your life. Stay sharp out there, friends. We'll see you all on the next one.